Hello, it's the beginning of June now and it's a very busy time of year. I've got to start putting the plants that are going to stay in the greenhouse in their final pots, and also now down in the south of the UK we've got no worry of getting any more frost now until like October time, so all the tender crops can go out. So I've got an awful lot to do, so I will take you through one plant at a time. So what I'm going to put in their final pots today are my chilies. They have been growing very well recently, so I've got all of them in apart from this one, which I'm going to show you how I do that. I sowed these seeds most probably, I think it was like February time, and they just took forever and ever and ever to come through. They grew really slowly and I was like, oh blimey, these aren't going to work very well, you know. But once we got some warmth, then they just suddenly just went vroom, which was great. So they're growing very, very quickly, and it's not just me who is saying that their chili seedlings have been fairly slow at the beginning of the year. It seems to be that a load of people around here, the same thing has been happening with them. But now they are really good. I would guess this is most probably about 7 inches tall, possibly. So it's now ready to go into its final pot. I will be keeping my chilies in the greenhouse for their entire life because it is the right temperature in the greenhouse for them. Outside it will just get too cold for them and they won't like it. So what I'm going to do is, I've got 3 litre pots here. These are really good. If you've only got 2 litre pots, then they will be fine. But if you can get hold of some 3 litre pots, then they are much better because they just give them a little bit more space for their roots to grow. And I can, I don't know what that is. Don't have no idea. But I can fit 2 3 litre pots, one there and one there. They fit in these trays absolutely perfectly and brilliantly. So let me show you how I am going to transplant my chili into its 3-inch pot. This is a longhorn, and these ones grew really well last year. The chilies were like about 9-10 inches long, so I'm looking forward to seeing those this year. So let me show you how I'm going to transplant it into its final pot. Okay, so what I've done is I've got my pot, my big pot, and I have just filled it with multi-purpose compost, filled it nearly to the top. What I'm going to do then, I've not patted it down or anything, so it's all very loose. What I'm going to then do is to make a hole in it. Now, I haven't made the hole particularly deep. I've actually made it. You need to make the hole the same depth that this pot is here, because chilies don't like to be planted deep. You'll need to plant this into the same depth as it is in this pot here. If you plant it in deep, it won't like it at all. So we just make a little hole, just make a little gap. And to get the plant out of its pot, just support the plant with 2 fingers here, turn it upside down, give the pot a bit of a squeeze. You might have to bash it on its bottom, and then just carefully pull it off. Now hopefully you can see there are loads and loads of roots there, so it is ready to go into its bigger pot. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to nestle it into the hole to make the hole a little bit deeper, push it down, and then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in round the outside with a little bit more compost. If you cover, you can put a little bit more compost on the top just to fill in the holes, and then that's absolutely fine just like that. So we'll put the label back in, and then I will put it down with the rest of them. So here is my chili. What I'm going to do now is I will put it into the tray here, and I won't water it from the top. What I'll do now is I will put some water in the tray, because this compost is quite dry, I'll most probably half fill this tray, so it will be about 1 inch deep of water, And that way, what will happen is the compost in this pot will soak up the water, and it will encourage the roots of the plant to grow down and to fill up the pot. If you keep watering from the top, then the roots usually tend not to work down as far into the pot. So, and you'll get the odd one or two that will go down, but what you want is you want the pot to be completely filled up with roots, and you want them to have a lot of space. If they know that the water's just going to be at the top, then they'll all be together and they'll all be compacted. So water from the bottom, and that way all the roots will start to fill up the pot. Now, I most probably will need to stake these, but I'll have to see how tall they get. Some chilies you do, some chilies you don't. It just depends how big they get. If you do need to stake your chilies, just use a bamboo cane, carefully insert it fairly near the plant here, just put it down, and then just carefully tie it around with some string, garden twine, or whatever you've got. Just be very, very careful. If you've got the bush varieties, they tend not to need staking. So hopefully now it's in its bigger pot, it will then start to sort of grow a lot more quite quickly. The weather now is quite warm, which is fabulous. It's actually getting quite hot in here. Just keep an eye on the water, and always water from the bottom. And soon you'll have some flowers that will appear, and then from the flowers, then you'll have your fruits. Well, I hope that you are growing chilies this year, whether they are hot, whether they are mild, or whether they are cool. It's whichever ones suit you. I don't like anything too hot. I just don't see the point of that, but there we go. So I will keep you updated on their progress, and if you haven't transplanted your chilies yet into their pots, then try and do them as soon as you can. Well, I hope you found what I've shown you interesting, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye bye.